Hi there. Welcome to With Three Words, specifically our No Questions Asked and No Judgment tutorial. While the idea of this concept is mostly instinctual, we thought it best to give a video guide just in case there are any questions as to how the kit works in conjunction with the conversation one may have with their child or loved one. I say the conversation in reference to the conversation that most parents have at some point in time with their children, where they tell them they can come to them at any time with anything and they'll always be there for them. When this conversation happens, the child surely believes their parents' words. It resonates in the moment. But as time passes and life happens, the memory of that initial conversation isn't nearly as fresh, easily recalled, or as reliable as the moment the conversation took place. We're offering a solution to that memory decay, and it involves adding two more senses into the equation: touch and sight. Not only are other senses, besides hearing, stimulated, but they're revisited almost every day. The importance of these two things, engaging other senses and repeated visuals, are key to building a trust bond between the parent and child or loved one. Simply put, when you have your conversation with your child, you also give them a card that says "No Questions Asked" on the front and a wristband that says "And No Judgment." They'll place their card in their wallet, where they'll see it almost daily. They'll also either wear their wristband or place it in a conspicuous place so that they see it every day as well. They may place it around the rearview mirror in their car, if they're old enough to drive, or around the doorknob in their bedroom, around a dresser knob, or just any place they can see it every day. You'll do the same with yours. Place it on the key holder in your home, around a knob in your living room, around your rearview mirror, and you can and should also wear it every now and then, so that when your child sees it on your wrist, they'll realize you remember the conversation and you'll honor your words if need be. Your child may also want to wear their wristband every now and then. If they're self-conscious about people seeing the words on it, they can easily turn it inside out, where there's simply an infinity sign on the reverse side. Seeing and or touching these items every day significantly increases the chance of them turning to you, their parent, grandparent, aunt, uncle, counselor, whomever, in their time of need. The words on the card and wristband are to let them know that even when they think they have nowhere else to turn, you've got their back, just like you said you would in that original conversations, no questions asked, and laying no judgment on their shoulders. They have their friends for their everyday simple problems, but when faced with a very serious issue, they know they have you as their safe landing place. When we say no questions asked, that doesn't mean you don't inquire as to what the problem is or why they may have made an ill-fated choice. It simply means that there's no problem that can't be sorted out through conversation rather than altercation. That being said, you'll see in the following scenario where the no questions asked means precisely that in the moment, because timing is of the essence. For instance, if they're out and they make a mistake and choose to drink, rather than drinking and driving or getting into a car with an impaired friend, they can call you and you'll go collect them. You're not going to argue with them over the phone, which could result in them hanging up and making a poor decision. You must ensure that you keep their trust so that if there's a next time with any situation, they know you'll have their back. When they're lucid, probably the next day, you'll have a conversation with them without judgment, again to maintain their trust in case there's a next time. Have a conversation parlaying your thoughts about the matter in as calm a way as you can. Look, we're human. Emotions will be involved, and you'll rightfully be upset, but your message will come across much better if you're not screaming at your child. Perhaps you'll tell them you're disappointed in their choice to drink if they're underage. Whatever conversation that suits your family's dynamic is the one you should have. But there should also be a thank you to your child or loved one, because at the end of the day, you're thankful they trusted you enough to call you and possibly save their or someone else's life. The fact that they called you in the first place shows an amount of regret they have for the choice they made. I mentioned a drinking and driving scenario, but in reality this can be used for any issue your child may be struggling with, because as we know, internal struggles can lead to grave consequences. Examples of possible issues can be dangerous online activity, embarrassing online activity, runaways, theft, vandalism, and the list goes on and on. If you're wondering how something like theft or vandalism can fit into this idea, take for instance the internal struggle a child may go through when they realize they've been caught stealing from people at school or vandalizing someone's property. Perhaps they weren't even caught. They're simply beginning to feel the gravity of their actions, and it's eating away at them. Normally, they probably wouldn't tell a parent, or they'd lie about the details, but if they know they can count on you to listen before yelling, they may make the choice to entrust you with this information. Their memory of the conversation will still be there because for weeks, months, even years, they've had triggers of that memory every single day when they've seen their card and yours or their wristband. And this is the moment they honor their word by coming to you, and you honor your word by helping them navigate through their situation without a major altercation. This will certainly involve apologies, making amends in whatever way you see fit, and steps to avoid this type of situation in the future. No problem is insurmountable, but to a child it may seem that way. Their age, maturity level, and lack of life experience all contribute to the overwhelming feelings they may face when met with a dire situation. Our goal is to offer our children a safe place to land when they feel they have no way out of a predicament and no one to talk to, and when normally they would hold it in. If the problem is in need of more than what a parent can offer, then you may find a counselor to help with the issue. This is also helping them out of a bad spot. It's an absolute certainty that not all children will choose to speak to their parent when met with a serious issue, but it's also a certainty that some will, and for those, it's worth it. It must be mentioned that we're appealing to children who have no history of mental health conditions or psychiatric disabilities for which a medical professional would be required. Our goal is simply to afford children tangible, repeated reminders that they have someone who will catch them when they fall, and with 3 words, this can be achieved.